Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Happy Saturday. I hope you're doing well today. I'm Deborah. This is Purusha Intuitive, and we're looking at the collective energy for today, Saturday, February 10th. Whoop, whoop. Happy Saturday. Always a fun day. Fun to just kind of rest, relax, hopefully after the week. It is a day of to-dos though. Saturday is ruled by Saturn. I feel like I always mix that up. And I was really interested about this concept of darkness that relates back to Saturn. We talked about this a little bit yesterday in the new moon video. Check it out if you haven't yet. But just this vibe, this value of going within and not being afraid to take those quiet moments to really assess what we want, what we desire, and bringing that into what are some things that we can actually practically do to make that happen. Sometimes those notions, those ideas, the desires are very clear. Sometimes we have to kind of like get rid of the bullshit in order to see ourselves clearly, to reconnect with who we authentically are, in order for us to be able to birth that into the world. So I'm going to start on that note. I'll start with an energy cleansing just to release, let go of any blocks, obstacles, things that might be just hindering us from being able to see those true values. It's a great time to set an intention for this reading, what you want to get out of it, what messages you're looking to hear, what questions you have, that type of thing. And then you can totally feel free to participate with me, grab your own smudge bundle if you have something on hand, or receive what I'm doing on my end. Because it transfers, right? Energy is limitless. It's pretty fabulous, actually. There's so much power in understanding its value, especially in our physical world. All right, so let's get going. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure love and grace. I release anything that is blocking the highest and best. Remove any obstacles, limitations, fear, restriction, whatever is not meant for us and our energy today. Give us strength, courage, fortitude to push through. And I do say amen. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us, Spirit. You know, it's actually pretty fabulous how much Spirit will support us. And Spirit meaning anything that you ascribe to, whether you have a certain religious practice, whether it's connecting with crossed over loved ones, angels, spirit guides, that type of thing. It's a team of support that is always there to help us. And it's interesting with this energy today because we're in Saturn energy. It can be a little bit more arduous, difficult, and even in the astrology that's showing up with how the sun and moon are being aspected. We just came, oh yeah, snow. I like that confirmation, that spirit confirmation, that we do really need, you know, the winter time obviously is when we hibernate. And depending on where you're located, we're in winter season this year in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's such a great time to go within, to kind of cuddle up with oneself, blanket by the fire, hot cocoa in hand, or warm beverage of choice. And, you know, just reflect. And I think that practice can be a little challenging. We want to think, feel, believe that we are doing it right, the right way, etc. With the hope that maybe, I don't know. I think it's like that's ego-based. Sorry, I got sidetracked. There was a message that came in. But I think that value can be a little ego-based. The wise man, right, takes a step back and really introspects and recognizes whether the action that he's taking is on the right path. And there is such a need to do that. We see this astrologically. Spirit has been confirming this all across the board. And what's the point? The point is so that we can be more happy and fulfilled in our lives. Stop sticking our heads in the sand or trying to fix something that's either broken or just doesn't work, right? Just doesn't make sense. And that, unfortunately, is the place that we have to learn how to detach. And we're in this process of detachment. As the planets are moving more into Aquarius, we have a lot of heavy placements. Sun, Moon, and Mercury and Pluto are all in Aquarius right now. So there is this momentum of pushing forward towards the change that you're hopeful about, that you wish for. The bitch of it is we have to do the work. Excuse my language, but it's true. And it goes back to that darkness component that I was talking about earlier. The courage to be able to go within and really assess and take time and be honest with yourself. It's difficult when we're dealing with people, places, and things that we do really care about, that we wish were a different way. And I think that is what really brings in this lack of clarity, where we're not certain if we're making the right decision. We're not really trusting ourselves. And Spirit's asking you to be faithful, because the sun and the moon, as much as they're like, man, I don't want to make the change. Oh, this sucks, whatever they're saying. There's this value of the more we align with that evolution and that healing, the more we will be honored. And so, I don't know, what's a good analogy for when we're in the fog? We have to just trust our instincts, trust the path, one step at a time is what I'm hearing. You don't have to see the destination. And sometimes that's way more fun. It's a little adventurous, right? It's being able to live in the magic of the universe, recognizing that we do have support all around us, even if we're not seeing that in the physical world. And honestly, it really takes the pressure off of us to not have to know everything, so we don't have to be worried about controlling every aspect. The conch shell reminds me of mysteries of the old, how when you put it up to your ear, you can hear the ocean. And it is that history, it is that ancestry. It's also connected to the feminine principle, that concept of being open and vast, just like we see with the ocean. When we are, there's so many more portals and opportunities that open up that are heart honoring for our manifestation. And that's what we need to be. And I'm also hearing it, maybe this is a little cheesy, but I'm also hearing it as heeding the sounds, the calls of the universe, of nature, of the things, our inner heart, our inner knowing, that inner voice and guidance. And that's part of our pathway forward, is what I'm hearing, tuning in. And again, releasing the need to know everything before you do it, because you have that trust, because you have that faith. And this in and of itself is a very intentional practice, right? It's not about saying don't feel that thing or don't think that thing. It's not about that. It's just acknowledging what comes up when you do feel a certain way, when you do think a certain thing, and rewriting the script, right? Switching the perspective, looking at it through the eyes of Spirit, right? If you could see all the different components that were working together for you, maybe you would feel a little more empowered. Maybe you would feel a little bit more confident and courageous. It's an ending of a cycle. And we know that, really, honestly, truly, with even just Pluto shifting into a new sign, Aquarius, it's the outer planets govern our, decade-long evolution, so to speak. So it doesn't go into Pisces until 2043 or something like that. Meaning that those longer cycles, we're going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 or so years. We have a retrograde towards the middle of this year, where it will go back into Capricorn. Sorry, all the nitty gritty, but true, and valuable information. It helps us to be aware, right? So Aquarius is this hopeful energy. It's pushing towards the future. It's very revolutionary and innovative. How can we make a better world? How can we make more peace in our heart, our mind, our soul? And honestly, we're seeing that all across the board. Pick a subject, pick a topic. It needs healing, right? And not to be, again, like, oh, everything needs to heal. Like, I'm not trying to be any sort of way, but just say that. I'm seeing how there's so much out of balance in our world, and there is really this call for harmony. And we're going to have to use that approach if we want healing for our planet, our food, our environment, the nature, people, you know, dynamics, society, culture. It's a prickly point though. And you know, cactus are such a unique plant in the fact that, you know, they're a little scary, right? Like, you don't necessarily want to get poked by their prickers, but it also is incredibly medicinal and healing as well. And so we have to, I'm hearing this value, we have to be willing. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty. All right, so what I was saying with this cactus energy is that we really have to be kind of willing to go through the BS in order to get to that healing medicinal medicine. It's not easy, right? Like, I don't know, we've been talking a lot, and this is showing up astrologically, how it feels or is perceived to be easier to stay put, to not uncover the truth, right? To not listen to our guidance, our direction, and just kind of pretend, right? Pretend it's fine, or pretend a situation is not showing up in the way that they truly are. And that's why there is so much of this need to self-evaluate, to be able to go into darkness with your own heart, mind, and soul, and really discover those messages of your heart. Because this is an ending, right? This is an ending of a cycle. And there is this value that, like, if you don't do the work now, if you don't have the awareness now, it's going to make it really hard to kind of not get sucked back into a cycle like that. That's back into the karma, so to speak. So if we just put on our blinders, if we don't see, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't choose that thing or be around that person, or maybe this isn't the best choice for me, maybe I need to explore other options. When we don't do that, it keeps us in the loop of complaining, feeling frustrated, annoyed with the things that aren't changing in our environment. So the Knight of Coins, Knight of Pentacles came up for us yesterday. That's Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. We still have a couple planets in Earth energy, which gives us the ability to ground. And what do I mean by grounding? It's just being stable in who we are, knowing what we need, what we want, being able to communicate that, and not being afraid. And we're moving towards that. But this is also, the Knight of Coins is also someone in your environment. So that Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy is a slow moving energy. It actually ends up putting a lot of the work on your plate with the Seven of Wands. It's almost like, I feel like a person's situation is taking their time, struggling, maybe a little stubborn is what I'm hearing. Like I was just talking about, refusing to have awareness, refusing to really see the truth and the reality. And so it puts the bulk of the responsibility on your plate. You kind of have to fend everything off. You're in this position where it's like, you're the one fighting. You're fighting tooth and nail. And I feel like this is where that level of exhaustion is coming into play. I feel like Spirit really wants us to be vigilant and stay the course. I know those probably are not fun words to hear, but it's, you know, it's like when we have to dig deep, when we have to push to really get something we want or we desire. We do have a tendency to be in the Seven of Wands energy, because this is a lot about combating different obstacles, seeing things in a new way, switching our perspective, but also being at an advantage when we do so. And If this person just wants to put his blinders on, his, her, it's genderless, you know, that's up to them or that situation, depending on what you're dealing with. This is an opportunity that's moving towards you. This is something that is taking its time, like I said. Why though? Oh yeah, taking its time to communicate, really wanting to make sure that they say the right words. The Knight of Pentacles is very methodical with how he approaches situations. And it does look like it is someone, something from your past with that Six of Cups energy. They want to have a conversation with you. I feel like they're trying to open up, be honest, be vulnerable to the best of their ability. I feel like I need to say that. Yeah, because they're having a lot of realizations and clarity around this issue. But why are they coming forward now? Okay, so they're trying to, like, you know, whatever they were hesitant about before, whatever they were maybe didn't want to acknowledge, didn't want to see, etc. Now they're trying to put plan into action. They're trying to switch the script because they're having realization about what the relationship between you two brought to the table. But I don't know. It's competing energies. It's someone who takes their time, but then it's also someone who moves too quickly. These are two, so someone who is not very balanced. You could have multiple people kind of feeding into the situation, but the Knight of Wands, Knight of Pentacles are on different ends of the spectrum. The Knight of Wands is like, you know, you don't even see him, he leaves so quickly, right? But the Knight of Coins takes forever to get there. And so I feel like if you're dealing with a specific person or situation, it's like there's not balance within them. And that's why it's taking them so long to really even address this. If this is a group of people, then it's conflict about this being addressed, right? There's difference of opinions, someone, something, they don't agree. And so it's making things kind of difficult in order for whoever this is to you, this Knight of Coins, for them to approach you. There's a lot of hesitation. And I feel like that's part of where this fog energy is coming into play for you today, because there's this value of you, I don't know, like either you're sensing this, you're picking this up on a more subtle level, on an intuitive level. So you don't really know where to place your thoughts or your perspective. Is this coming from me or is this coming from someone else? You had connection. You can easily tap into this person's energy is what I'm feeling, but it's actually restricting new beginnings with this Fool energy being blocked. It's this dance, right? It's the dance of the back and forth. And that's where Spirit's asking you to be really aware of what this person, situation, group of people brought to you before. Living in that awareness, living in that trust, in that faith, so that you can end a cycle. You can end a cycle and you can find new beginnings, because these new beginnings are here for us. We just have to be brave enough to step outside of the old. And that's that Uranian energy that we're seeing. Right now, the sun and moon are square to that. So we're hesitant, you know, sometimes it's easier to be stagnant, or it feels like it is, to be complacent, to put something off till tomorrow, to not deal with it, etc. And then when things like this come up, where we feel pulls on our energy, where we don't have clarity, it makes it really difficult to move forward. This message of the Page of Wands has been coming out for us a lot. Diversifying your environment, people, places, and things and opportunities is really going to bring an end to all this BS. I feel like we're naturally headed there. Like we see the evolution, the progress that is unfolding. I'm assuming if you're watching this channel, you are going to be someone who is more proactive about your well-being and moving away from the BS and not getting caught up in the drama, in the, you know, this is like a lot of just kind of like irrational motivations, justifications for bad behavior is what I'm seeing. And I do feel like you're tired of it. You're over it. You've been dealing with it for such a long time. Let's move on. Let's move forward. But the only way out is through. Yeah. Sorry for that. But I understand it. I see it. I can resonate with it. And it is about self-protecting. So really arming yourself is what I'm hearing. Obviously in a way that keeps you open and receptive to new opportunities and possibilities. We don't want to be so self-protected that we don't let anyone in, because that can work against us, is what I'm hearing. But it's about contemplating. It's about understanding the dynamic. It's about thinking things through and then making plans accordingly. You might need to save your money right now. You might need to really make sure that you're you have your rainy day fund if anything happens. Kind of just protecting is what I'm hearing. It's the overall value of protecting what you've built to this point. We are still feeling a little tentative, a little bit uneasy, because we're just at the beginning, right, with this Seven of Pentacles, of hoping for a very bright future, of happiness, of fulfillment, of accepting and loving who we are and bringing that back to the world. And if we continue to stay with the blinders on, we don't do that. We end up just functioning out of hurt and pain and suffering, which really, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, it's not a fun way to live. It brings a lot of pain and disconnect, and I feel like wasted time, wasted energy on things that really just, don't deserve it. And we need to give mercy, right? Mercy in the places where people, places, and things, our own self has limitation, lack of awareness, where we feel like, we're not seeing justice. Having mercy for those places, because it keeps coming through that you are the more aware. Maybe you're a little eccentric, right? Maybe the way you think, the way you approach life, etc., is not the typical or the norm. Or you're dealing with people that are very eccentric and wild and kind of throw curveballs at you left and right. But I'm hearing this message, like you see things very acutely. You see things very clearly, and I feel like that's a threat. You probably are very tapped into your intuition, to that third eye principle, that spiritual eyesight. And so when we have that wisdom, when we have knowledge, we really need to work with it in a respectable, honorable way, sacred way, right? It's not about penalizing what was in the past. Companions. It's about using that knowledge as power to our advantage, opening up the door for new community, new companions, new people, places, and things that are actually honoring your path and honoring your evolution and what you desire, and getting that stuff out of the way. I thought it said convincing at first. Sorry. It's like, who's convincing you of what? No, conniving. So yeah, it's moving away from those conniving energies, right? Like, I think we just have to be very aware of our environment, of our surroundings. This is the principle that has been coming up for the last couple readings or so, where it's like, the ways that you've been hustled, taken advantage of, the ways that people have tried to use your weaknesses to their advantage. We're moving away from those things. And it's difficult, because usually when we're coming out of those spaces, we don't feel strong. We question ourselves, our ability, etc. And Spirit's really asking you to be patient in the process as this is all unfolding. Try not to be too hard on yourself. And the more you can step away, create boundaries, self-protect, honor yourself through that sacrament of thinking it through, right? If we're kind of just like not paying attention or putting it off, that is also a form of self-sabotage, because it's not preparing ourselves. I don't want to say preparing ourselves for battle, but like that's what I'm hearing. So whatever that proverbial battle is for you, maybe you do kind of have to suit up as if you're going to war. You have to bring people, places, and things, companions into your environment that are going to help and prepare you for this next stage. Like I was saying earlier, with that Pluto in Aquarius, it's retrograding back into Capricorn, and that often brings up some more challenges and obstacles. So I feel like you've got this. I feel like you see this clearly. I feel like you've done enough work in order to make this happen, but you're in this phase of like actually integrating it into your present world, actually making it your reality. And it's already in momentum. Spirit has your back 100%. It's just a little bit more of this messy nitty gritty that you have to move through. And it's really about seeing your own power and your own ability to overcome and find more balance, more harmony, happiness, and pleasantries, or just fulfillment in your life. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your energy always. I hope this reading helped. Definitely drop comments below. I'm excited to hear how it resonates, plays out in your world. And I'm sending love and good vibes always. I know these energies are very difficult to move through, but you got this. You're strong, you're powerful, you're fabulous. Trust in yourself. Trust in your higher knowing, and I'm here if you need anything. All right, lots of love, lots of blessings. Enjoy your day.